I was brand new in the business. The first line I ever said that I got paid for was, if my father were a gorilla, I'd be learning riding instead of writing. And that's really hard to do behind 2.5 inches of latex. So we looped that line numerous times. One of the things that we really had fun with was, I got a chance to work with a guy who had been down the road many, many times and had the costume and the character down to a science. He just walked into it. And I noticed the first couple of days that his makeup was more pliable. He had more expressions than anybody else. And so I went to my makeup artist, Jimmy Phillips, and I said, Jimmy, how does Roddy pull that off? Because the bridge of the nose was a fairly thick piece of latex. And he said, well, that's a secret. I said, yeah, but he's my dad. I have to look like him. He said, well, if Roddy is willing to give up the secret, because Roddy would go off into a different room to get made up, where the rest of us were in the cattle truck getting made up. He was off in a private little room listening to opera at 4 o'clock in the morning. And hey, if you've done it for 5 years, you'd listen to something other than rock and roll too. So I went to Roddy one day and said, listen, Dad. Okay, I didn't say that. Mr. McDowall. Okay. I said, how do you get that nose to wiggle like that? And he said, well, it's something that we do. I said, look, I'm your kid. Level with me. I've got to look like you. I'm the prince here. Okay? I die in the movie. You've got to give me something to work with here. So he told me how it was done, and his makeup artist told Jimmy, and Jimmy already knew, but he wasn't going to tell anybody. And all he did was hollow out the inside of the appliance right on the bridge. And so when I did this, it just wiggled just enough to make me more like the immortal Roddy McDowall. And he was comfortable enough to share that with me so that I could be more like him. And that changed everything for me.
And it worked. That was a really great scene, a death scene.
So I just died. They were the ones who were acting. I just closed my eyes.